a very warm welcome to yet another scintillating edition of the program CAC Weekly. Now, CAC Weekly is that weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievement of the Corporate Affairs Commission. My name is Amina Jibril. Now, coming up on the program, we shall take a look at shareholders and the rights of minority shareholders, plus how small business owners can formalize their businesses with ease. But all of that will be right after this break. We'll be right back.
There is one issue that has been a cause of concern for everybody, and a lot of you are not happy with CAC. Because for any Nigerian, the mentality is, if I don't see my name in the CAC register, then I'm not a shareholder. Even when the law says, when there is a transfer of shares, the instrument of transfer should be submitted to the company, and the company should enter the name of the new shareholder and the register of members, and so be it. Under the law, it's only when you are filing returns that you update your register with the CAC, or when you have fresh allotment of shares after an increase. But it's understandable. People don't trust some of the companies to actually do the right thing. So CAC stopped accepting share transfer in the belief that companies will do the right thing. Some of you devised what you call surrender, even when the intention is not to surrender the shares. Instrument of surrenders are submitted to us, and because we accept surrender, we are forced to accept surrender. So we are bringing back the transfer through the front end. From the end of this month, you should be able to do your transfer. You can edit your shareholding information the same way you can edit your directors. The only thing, there will be a drop down that will tell whether you are doing it as a result of allotment, fresh allotment, or transfer, or surrender, or transmission. And we don't even need to see your instrument of surrender or your deed of transfer. All we require is a board or company resolution, because these are actually actions that should be approved by the company.
Welcome back to the program. We start off today with the shareholder. Who is a shareholder? Now, Investopedia describes a shareholder as a person, a company, or institution that owns at least one share of a company's stock or in a mutual fund. Now, shareholders essentially own the company, which comes with certain rights and responsibilities. This type of ownership allows them to reap the benefits of a business's success. These rewards come in the form of increased stock valuations or financial profits distributed as dividends. Conversely, when a company loses money, the share price invariably drops, which can cause shareholders to lose money or suffer declines in their portfolio. A single shareholder who owns and controls more than 50% of a company's outstanding shares is called a majority shareholder. In comparison, those who hold less than 50% of a company's stock are classified as minority shareholders. Speaking on minority shareholders, MillerLawPC.com describes them as those who hold less than 51% of the shares in a corporation. Both publicly traded and privately held companies have shareholders. However, the rights minority shareholders in closely held corporations may be more subject to oppression than those of shareholders in public companies. This is because you can't sell shares in a private company on the open market in the same way that you can sell shares in a public company. On the other hand, shareholders in a private company have other benefits, such as getting a minority discount if the company later goes public or is sold. They may also have greater opportunities to participate in the operation of the business. Now, do minority shareholders have any rights? MillerLawPC.com further says all shareholders generally have at least the following rights. 1. The right to vote on major decisions and elections of directors. 2. Right to participate in meetings. 3. Right to receive dividends, and also right to inspect company records that are relevant to the shareholders' interest. And now for more insight, let us join Adeola Tolulokpe in our interview segment.
Mr. Tolulokpe Adeola, Assistant Director, RG Office. Many thanks for joining us on the program again.
Thank you very much, madam.
All right, and happy 2023 to customer data.
I wish you same compliment. It's good to be here on this side of the year.
Okay. Today we're going to be looking at the concept of minority shareholder protection. People would say a minority is a minority now, but help us understand who is a minority shareholder or an investor. Okay.
The term minority shareholder, which may also be referred to as a minority investor. There's no definition provided in the Companies and Allied Matters Act. But when you look to Black's Law Dictionary, the dictionary describes a minority investor, minority shareholder, as that shareholder that holds less than half of the outstanding shares. In other words, if you take his own shares and you look at shares that have been allotted to other people, his own shares are less than half the total number of those shares allotted to other people. And so that shareholder is not in the position to control the affairs of the company, the management of the company, or to single-handedly appoint a director. So that is the person you refer to as a minority shareholder, a minority investor.
So what's the difference?
The difference is that
between the persons with significant control and a minority shareholder.
The person with significant control can also be a minority shareholder. If the total number of shares is holding is less than the outstanding, the others that is not holding.
Okay.
Right? So we find somebody.
So let's paint a scenario.
Okay. Somebody with 5% shareholding is a minority shareholder. Somebody with 10% shareholding, our thresholding benchmarking against the total is a minority shareholder. Somebody with 15% holding is a minority shareholder. Because if you say your shareholding is less than half, so what we're looking at is for you to qualify to grow above being in that class, you must hold more than a third of the shareholding of a company. Okay. Right? But that is in the case of persons minority shareholders. Now, what persons with control, whether you hold 5%, 30%, 100%, 90%, you must be reported on. Okay. So you can hold 5%, 10%, you are still a minority shareholder. You can hold 20%, you are still a minority shareholder.
Compared to the overall
injection
into that company.
Yes. Okay. You are still a minority shareholder. You still deserve protection. The fact that you hold 5% does not mean you can veto decisions. Particularly if decisions are supposed to be taken by a prescribed majority. For instance, if it says simple majority. Simple majority will mean of the total. At least anything 50 and 51 point something, 50 point something, 51% will drive it. Now you don't qualify as 50%. Okay. You're only holding 5%, you're holding 10%, you're holding 20%. Right? And then sometimes you may say by special resolution, which means 75% majority for special resolutions. So it is not the powers that you exercise. It's not the percentage of votes you can exercise. No.
Okay.
Right. Okay. As long as you are still holding this low, you are a minority.
Okay. Right. All right. So let's come to the protection itself. Before we go to you helping us breaking it down for us to understand, what is the thinking behind this protection?
Now, the thinking is simply that, like I said earlier, every person who is an investor, who is a shareholder, should be allowed to speak, should be heard, right? And his rights should be protected when there are perceived wrongdoings against him. Okay. So if I have some investment in the company, my interest may not be controlling. My investment may not be so huge. But the fact is that I am a player in the space. So if you're going to take a decision that will affect me, I should be afforded the opportunity to speak. Okay. The opportunity to be heard. The right to be informed. And where I think you are acting oppressively against me, I should be able to seek redress and protection. Okay. That's the whole objective. You know, if this is available, then you would have promoted investor confidence. People want to bring money and invest in your space. But if they don't think their investment is protected, or that when they think that they are oppressed, they cannot get redress, their rights cannot be enforced, then they won't come to your system. They won't come to that space to invest. They look for some other spaces.
Okay.
So it's to promote transparency, to promote engagement.
So it's all about restoring confidence in the business environment.
That's simply what it is.
Okay.
So people should have the assurance they should be, they should feel safe with their investment in the space. That at the least, I can enforce my rights.
And their rights are protected.
Yes, and they are compensated.
Okay.
Where it is found that their rights have been abridged.
Okay. So let's go to the law. What exactly does the law say? Now,
when you talk about minority protection, it's not a new concept under CAMA 2020. It's always existed. Minority have in one way or the other been assured of some protections in the law. If you look at CAMA 1990, you have the old section 46, I think, here, which gives members, holding up to 15% of the shares or debentures, issue shares or debentures, to apply to court to object to any alteration of the objects. If you want to alter the object of a company, if members constituting 15% or more, or debenture holders constituting 50% or more, are not in favor of it, they can actually apply to the court to cancel that resolution, to alter the objects of the company. However, this 15% will not include those who voted at the meeting in favor of the cancellation of the alteration. So outside those who voted, if those who did not vote, not because, or who did not vote for it, not because they abstained, but because they did not want it, they voted against it. If they constitute up to 15% or more, they can go to court. Now, you find that these are people in the minority, but they can go to court to protect their interest. And if the court thinks that the basis, the ground of their objection is solid, it can uphold the objection and cancel the resolution, in which case the company cannot go ahead to alter the objects. But if the court thinks that, no, this objection or your fears, your grounds are not strong enough to cancel it, the court will uphold the cancellation and confirm it. And then the company can proceed to CAC to file it, to notify us of such objection. Another instance is where a public company, for instance, decides to change its status from public company to private company. This one takes only 5% of issued capital, members holding shares that are issued, 5%, only 5%, of members, to apply to the court and say, no, you cannot change the status of this company for PLC. That's public limited, a company limited by shares, but publicly quoted, to a private company limited by shares. Again, it's for the court to determine whether those grounds are strong enough. And another one is where you want to vary the rights of a class of shares. If members of that class of shares do not think it is right, or that it will operate prejudicially against them, they can go to court again to stop it. 15% again. Okay. And then the last one I would like to mention, there are many others, is when a company is being run in some ways that are not too acceptable, so to say, to some members, and they want the commission to investigate the affairs of that company. Under 1990, the Act prescribes that if you have members holding 25%, a quarter, in shares, or for companies that have shares, where companies are not limited by shares, in the case of companies limited by guarantee, 25% of the members can actually petition the commission for an investigation into the affairs of that company. Right. So all these are prescribed thresholds for minorities, right, to seek protection for their investment, either by moving against the decision of the majority and leaving the court to decide whether that decision will stand or not, or even coming to the commission to say, the way this company is run, and we need you to investigate the affairs of this company. We need you to investigate it. We are members, we are not satisfied with the way it is run, and we need you to investigate the affairs of this company. right? They can't come. Now you look at all the thresholds that I mentioned. There is the one that requires only 5% threshold. 5%, yes. There is the one. There was the one that required 15%, and then you had 25%. Now all these thresholds are seen as minorities, right? Coming back to your question about persons without control. Yes. All these persons, if they are individuals, you must report on them. Don't forget that for minority, it does not have to be one person. It can be a collection of shareholders, totaling that amount.
Who fall into that category?
Yes, totaling that amount. Okay. But for persons with control, it's individual reporting. One person must hold that threshold, must meet that threshold. It's not for you to bring people together, 1%, 2%. No. Each person that you are reporting on must hold at least 5%. For persons with significant control. Okay.
I'm sure you want to give another instance, but since it is not new, what has changed? How has it been enhanced?
The change is that the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, CAMA, introduced, against the backdrop of what existed, right? The changes are in two forms. Okay. In some instances, they are totally new provisions. In other instances, these provisions that existed were expanded. Okay. An example of the expansion of existing provision is what you have now in section 142 of CAMA 2020. Now that section says that before new shares that are issued are allotted, right? Before you issue shares, right, you must first give the right of first refusal or acceptance, right, subscription to existing shareholders.
Okay, so they have to be carried along.
For all companies. Now, I said it's an expansion because what existed was that this always applied to private companies before CAMA 2020. Now, by extending it to apply to all companies, that means whether you are private or public, that should happen. So you first allow those existing shareholders in the proportion of their holdings, right, to decide whether they want to take up these new shares or not before you go public, before you offer to anybody outside the existing shareholders. So you must, if you were holding 25% and some other person was holding 15%, and I was holding 55%, and then somebody was holding 10%, that's 100%. The shares you are creating that are new, that you have just issued, right, before you allot to any other person, you must first offer to us again in that proportion. To you, 25%, to the other person, 55%, to him, 10%, to me, 40%. That's 100%. We have to first determine whether these persons are ready to take up these shares. And you must notify us in writing. Tell us each that these many shares, if you are interested, you can take them up. And the price for each unit of share is so and so. And you must give me a timeline, a time frame to take it up. So you don't just come to me today and say, please, you must do it and pay, take it up tomorrow. No. So you must allow that time. I must get back to you to say I'm not interested, or fail to get back to you within the prescribed timeline before you can then say you're offering it. But that's an expansion. Now,
so I can go behind the scene. If I don't have the money, I can go behind the scene, collect money, and buy.
You can people borrow money to go and buy shares.
Okay.
Right. As long as you are not collecting from the company to buy the shares.
Okay.
So because there are rules for.
Because there are people who don't have money at that particular period.
Yes. And that's why they give you time.
Okay.
To come up with the money if you are interested and to buy. Don't forget that the business of the company must continue.
Oh, yes.
We cannot wait for you because.
But if I don't like your face and I don't want you to buy it, what happens?
You have to either not like my face and let me buy it, or you like my face and don't let me buy it. You must take a decision because there is the timeline to it. You cannot hold it in perpetuity. So if you don't acquire those shares within that time frame, then the company is now free to look elsewhere.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I know we can go on and on and on, but it's very interesting. I wish that this can also apply to the political space where the minorities are also given this kind of, protection.
But unfortunately, CAC does not regulate the political space.
So the minority in the political space are on their own.
No, they are not. They are on their own. They are not. They have what you call their own board system. They have the National Assembly.
Okay.
So let their representatives there speak. Everybody has the right to speak and be
And then they can set up their own courts too.
If they want to.
Sometime in the future.
If they want
All
to.
right. Thank you very much, sir, for your time as
My
always.
pleasure, Medina.
All right.
Great insight there from Tolulope. Now, are you a small business owner yet to formalize your business? Please join us to see how you can do that seamlessly online.
Business registration. Business registration is divided into 3 phases. This video will help you navigate the new registration portal to register your business. Phase 1. Account creation. To access the portal, you must register an account either as a public user or as an accredited agent. Let's begin. Step 1. To create an account, log on to pre.cac.gov.ng. Step 2. Click on Register on the top right corner of the screen, or scroll down and click on Account Creation at the bottom of the page. Step 3. Fill in your details and click on Register. If you had started your registration previously or the application was queried, click the Continue Existing/Queried Registration toggle buttons to continue. If you want to be an accredited agent, click the Accredited Agent toggle button. Only qualified professionals can own an accredited account on the portal. After clicking on Register, a verification link will be sent to your email. Log into your email to verify your email. Now that you have an account, you can proceed to register your business. Phase 2. Name reservation. To register your business, let's find out if the name is available and reserve it. Step 1. Log on to your dashboard using your username and click on New Name Reservation. Step 2. Under Name and Type, choose the classification of business you intend to register and pick the specific type. Enter your proposed names, click on Save and Continue. Ensure you fill in all fields marked with a red asterisk. Step 3. Under Objectives, pick New Incorporation as your reason for the reservation and click on Save and Continue to preview. Step 4. Click on Pay via Remitter to proceed to payment. Step 5. On the Remitter page, click on Submit. This will bring up a list of options you can use for the payment. After making payment, you will be automatically redirected to your dashboard and your reservation will enter the pending panel. Phase 3. Part 1. Business name registration. Now that we have reserved the name, let's now proceed to register the business. Step 1. On your dashboard, click on the Reserve panel. This would bring up your approval history. Step 2. Click on the Start Registration button beside your approved name. Step 3. Under Business Details, enter your business details and click on Save and Continue. Step 4. Under Particulars of Proprietors, enter the particulars of each proprietor and click on Add Particulars of Proprietor button, then click on Save and Continue. Step 5. Under Nature of Business, enter the nature of business and describe the business by filling in the Other Nature of Business description box and click Add Nature of Business button to add, then click the Save and Continue button to proceed. Ensure you fill in all fields marked with a red asterisk. Step 6. Under Document Upload, scan the means of identification you chose in Step 4 and upload it by clicking the Upload button. Upload the scanned versions of your signature and passport photograph. Click on Save and Continue to preview your entries. Step 7. When you have verified your entries, click on Proceed to Payment to pay for your registration. Remember to remain on the Remitter page after you have received a confirmation of payment. You will be automatically redirected to your dashboard where you can download your receipt. When your registration has been approved, your certificate will be automatically generated on your registered panel where you can download and print it.
Wow! What then are you waiting for? Hurry now to pre.cac.gov.ng to register your business. And that does it for this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Remember, for comments and inquiries, you can please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. On Twitter, it is at CAC Nigeria 1. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is cservice@cac.gov.ng. You can visit our website via www.cac.gov.ng and dial our helplines on the numbers 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971, 090-874-01598 or 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Join us again next week for an action-packed edition of the program. Same time, same station. From me, Amina Jibril, and the rest of the team here, it is bye for now.